Hey everybody, Steve Becker here with BeckerArt, and today I want to show you a really fun trick on how to mount watercolor paper to a board. We're going to be using pH neutral PVA glue. You can also use a medium, a gel medium, to do the same thing. Holbein has a gel medium. This is gel medium. You can also use Holbein gel mediums or an acrylic gel medium and apply that as a glue. You can do that. And what you can do also, what you'll need is a X-Acto knife to cut the board if it's not to the size, a chip brush to use to put the glue, spread it all over, and some kind of burnisher. I use a rolling pin. You can use one of those little ones, little burnisher too, that they use for printmaking. But this I found at a garage sale, a big rolling pin, or it's just great. So what I'm going to show you, there's two panels that I found actually today, and when I went to Menards and I found this ceiling tile. The ceiling tile is actually a PVC panel that was 4 foot by 2 foot, and I cut it down with my utility knife to make it 11 by 14 because my quarter sheet of watercolor paper is 11 by 15. So 11 by 14, and so the panel I cut a little bit shorter than that just so this paper will hang over a little bit. So you can apply it right onto here, and I also found at Blick's that Jack Richardson makes hardboard panels that are 1/8 of an inch. Now you can buy these panels, the hardboard panels at like a Menards or Home Depot, but they're a 1/4 inch thick. This is only an 1/8 of an inch thick. 1/8 of an inch thick is so much lighter. 3/4 is so heavy. Try putting like 4 or 5 of those in your pack when you're going out plein air painting. It's so heavy. So I either suggest the 1/8 inch hardboard. You can get those at Blick's. I'll put that in the comment section below, and you can look at that for where to get these. And also this, I'll put the link from Menards where I had gotten this panel, which is a PVC. A little bit heavier too, because it is PVC. I have a plastic that you can put on. But let me just show you really quickly how to mount them. And so I just mounted this one beforehand. I want to show you what it looks like and what to do afterwards after you glue it. So what I'm going to do is take the panel, and I'm going to use the neutral. You have to have a pH neutral glue, and check out, just make sure that it's acid free or pH neutral. This PVA you can get on Amazon. I will have the link down below. I'm just squeezing some out here onto the panel, just pretty generously, because you're going to cover the whole back. I'll wait for it to do it on the back of the paper, but I do it on this and on the back of the paper. And now I'm gluing it onto the PVC with the PVA. It's a lot of letters here. PVC with the PVA glue. And again, neutral glue. And real quickly, I'm just smushing it on there. And even if it squeezes out when you go to press it, that's good, that's fine. Just make sure that when you, I'm going to put a little bit less on here. I'm just going to push that over here. I'm going to put a little bit less on the paper itself. And look at the side you want to paint on. Make sure you got the right side and do the other side. There is no right side or wrong side to most of the papers I use. I'm using Stonehenge Aqua here. And so they're pretty much all the same on both sides. So just look for the cleaner side. So I'm going to go really quickly across this. I'm just putting it on there real generously, and I just go across it. As you can see, I covered every bit on here. Put a lot on the board. I didn't put as much on the paper because that's going to go into here anyways. And so make sure I get the edges and the sides covered. And this glue will melt itself together, and you're going to press it all together. And so here I have that. Take the paper, line it up. And so I always make the paper a little bit bigger. If you do make it where it's exact size, then take it to the corner and then lay the left side and the bottom side to get down. But this is bigger than the board, so I'm just going to make sure it's all around. Just going to push it. I usually like to have a little something like a towel or a clean sheet of paper or wax paper to put over, you know, to kind of, so you don't wreck the paper. I mean, you don't want to sit there and wreck the paper before you even get started painting on it. And so there we go. And then we're going to take clean pin, the rolling pin, and again, another sheet of paper over it would be nice. Or a dirty sheet of paper that's clean on one side. I'm just going to put this piece right over that just to kind of make it so that I'm not ruining the paper that's underneath. So find something beforehand, which I didn't do. Just roll it. I'm just rolling it here really hard. I want to squeeze that glue nice and, see, it's squeezing out the side here. That's actually getting on my paper. Oh, look at that. I moved it over. Yeah. I pushed it too hard and moved it right off the page, but that's okay because you can squeeze it right back. And so a piece of wax paper would be good. And then you just be hard, just go on there hard. Let's see, I'm just rolling it. And I'm making sure that I position it. Don't watch that you're not moving the paper off the board. This is the PVC, and it looks like it's all good now. Just nice and squeeze, and it's going to squeeze the paint around the side of it, which is fine. So let me just pick it up real quick and actually glue it down to the board here. Yeah. So make sure, see, it just make sure it's all the way around and nice and even. I'm actually going to put like this, and I'll do the back of this board too, and that'll maybe you can even do that. Paste it so that just press down on the board right onto the paper. Either way, just got to get it so that the squeezing the glue to the side, and make sure you don't go over the edges. And if you're doing it to size, like the exact size, then you have to really watch it so that you don't move the paper. So this then is ready for putting a little something on top of it. And so, of course, I made it dirty probably because I put it on this dirty sheath paper here. But this is just to show you anyways. So another thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take and I'll get it ready for putting a weight on there. So if you're an artist, you probably have a nice big huge book, which I do here. I have a nice huge book that I think Winslow Homer, look at that. That thing is so thick, very heavy. So I'm just going to place something on top of that so it doesn't, again, wreck the paper. Place that on there real nicely. Push that down. Leave that overnight, and you will have a nice sheet of paper that's now on a panel. All right, and so here is the one I had done before. And again, make sure you have a bunch of extra paper or wax paper so that you keep the surface clean for your painting later. I was really bad at that because I was just wanted to show you how to glue it and I didn't have anything available. But so now this paper has been dried, and so what I'm going to do, it came out of the oven, right? No, it doesn't come out of the oven. You just, it's dried now, and see how it's overlapping? Just take your X-Acto knife and cut out the corners. Again, make sure it's on a clean cutting board so that you're not ever putting anything on your paper that you just mounted. Like I would mount it before you do the painting, only because then you can get the right, you can go over like this, you can go over a little bit, where if you have the painting right to size and you're trying to get the panel to fit that size, hopefully if you did do it beforehand, make sure you get a little bit extra and then center it into the panel that is the right size. And so that's another way of doing it. All right, and then you just cut that off really easily. And that is how to mount a board to a piece of paper or a piece of paper to a board. Either way, just put the glue on there, and don't forget, use pH neutral PVA or gel medium. You can use a gel medium also for gluing that paper down to the board. If you find another board, please let me know. There's another one that's probably a little bit more expensive. It's called museum board. Museum board, a lot of people, and gator board. Gator board is kind of expensive too. Gator board is foam core with a nice hard surface in between the foam. This PVC board is nice, but it's kind of expensive too. It's like $15 for that sheet that was 2 foot by 4 foot. The panel, 1/8 inch hardboard panel from Blix by Jack Richardson, was about, for 16 by 20, was like about $4, I think. And so they also have gator board, and the last thing is a museum board, like an 8-ply museum board. That's probably going to be the most expensive because it's a lot of framers use it for backing, and it's pretty thick, it's almost like thicker than a mat board. But that's also something you can mount this paper to. But do mount them, because especially if you're using thinner paper like 140, that'd be a good thing to do. Even 90-pound paper you can use now if you mount it on first. So then if you use 90-pound paper, you can then put it onto a board, and then it becomes whatever thickness the board is, and then go ahead and do your watercolors and then wax them. You don't need to have a frame then, glass on your framing. You do need a frame. you don't need to have a matte board or a glass if you mount it in like a plein air frame. That's another thing I was going to tell people last week, is that if you are going to frame these watercolors into a frame without glass and without matte board, make sure that the frame is a little bit more substantial and not the thin stuff, because it'll look kind of funny unless it's very big and it's almost a minimal frame, just to show a little bit of that. But that's okay. But when you're having a certain size, and it should be a little bit more bigger a frame, otherwise it just kind of looks like it's lost in there. and no matte. And that's where the matte comes in really handy. But a larger frame will give it the look of like a matte, like a plein air frame is really good for that because it does have like a look of a matte in the frame. All right, so until next week, or until next tip, come to me and see me on Thursday nights at 6:30 Central Standard Time and watch me do a paint along, which I do every Thursday night. And every Tuesday morning, I come out with a newsletter that tells you what we're going to be painting on Thursday night. Or you go to my website at BeckerArt.net or DavidRBecker.com. Don't forget the R on David R. Becker, and see what I'm doing there. All right, until next tip, we'll see you later. Thanks. Bye-bye.